Hello everyone and welcome to Data Science with our Part 4 video on Intellipaat. Now before we discuss our today's agenda, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and click the bell icon. So first we are going to discuss about filter function. Moving ahead, we are going to discuss about mutate function. Then we are going to learn about sample n function. Moving ahead, we are going to discuss about sample track function. And at the end, we are going to conclude our sessions with count.
We are going to work with the filter function from the dplyr package. So let's go to our studio. Right, so we are back to our studio. Now what I'll do is I'll start off by having a look at the data set. So I'll type view of customer churn, which is a data set. Right, so we have our data set right in front of us. Now I'll also load the dplyr package. So I'll type library of and I'll give the name of the package, which is dplyr. So we have loaded the package. Now we can happily work with the filter function. Right, so let's say I would want to filter out all of the female customers from this customer churn data set. So for that, we can take the help of filter function. So I'll type out filter, then I'll give the name of the data set, which is customer churn, following which I'll give the column, which is gender. Now from this gender column, I would need only the female customers. So I'll type the value, which is female. Right, and I will store this in, let's say, C underscore female. Right, so let me have a glance at this now. So I'll type view of C underscore female. Right, so if you have a look at this gender column, we see that all of the values are female. So basically we have used the filter function to filter out all of the female customers from this data set. And we see that there are around 3,488 female customers. Right. Now, similarly, let's say if I would want to filter out all of those customers whose monthly charges are more than $100. Right. So again, let me go ahead and use the filter function. I'll give the name of the data set, which is customer churn. Now, I'll give the name of the column, which is monthly charges. Right. And over here, I would want the monthly charges to be more than 100. Right. So I'll give monthly charges greater than 100. And I'll store this in, let's say, C underscore high paying customer. Now let me have a glance at this. I'll type C underscore high paying customer. Let me go to the monthly charges column. Right, so we see that all of the values are greater than 100, and there are around 902 customers whose monthly charges are greater than 100. So just to be sure, let me use the range function to find out the range of monthly charges. So I'll type range of C underscore high paying customer dollar monthly charges. Right, so the range starts from 100 to 118. Right, so we are done with this. Now we'll give multiple conditions by using the AND operator. So let's just say I would want all of the female customers whose monthly charges are greater than 100. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll type filter. I'll give the name of the data set. Right, and I'll give the condition over here. So first condition is I would need all of the female customers. So I'll give gender is equal to female. And the next condition is the monthly charges need to be greater than 100. So I will type monthly charges is greater than 100, and I'll store this in, let's say, C underscore high female. Now let me have a glance at this. So view of C underscore high female. Right, so we see that the gender, it comprises of only female customers, and the monthly charges is greater than 100. And we see that there are around 461 female customers whose monthly charges are greater than 100. So similarly, now what we'll do is we'll use the AND operator to find out all of the customers who subscribe to both streaming TV as well as streaming movies. So I'll type filter, give the name of the dataset, which is customer churn. So first condition is the customer needs to have subscribed to streaming TV. So streaming TV is double equal to yes. and the next condition, which is streaming movies, right? And streaming movies is also equal to yes. So now I'll show this in C underscore stream. So let me have a look at the result, view of C underscore stream, right? So we see that there are around 1940 customers for those who have subscribed to both streaming TV and streaming movies. Now what we'll do is we'll give 3 conditions. So let's complicate this a bit more. So let's just say I would want to find out all those customers whose tenure is greater than 50 and whose internet service is, let's say, DSL, and whose contract is, let's say, 1 year. Right, so let's go ahead and give all of these filter, give the name of the dataset, which is customer churn. So the first condition is tenure needs to be greater than 50 and the internet service, which should be DSL, right? So internet service is double equal to DSL over here, and I'll go ahead and also give the third condition, which is the contract, right? So the contract needs to be of 1 year. I'll store this in, let's say, C underscore TIC. Right, now let me have a glance at this, view of C underscore TIC. Right, so let us first have a glance at the tenure. So we see that tenure is greater than 50 everywhere. Next comes the internet service. So we see that the internet service is DSL. Next comes the contract. So here is a contract, and the contract is 1 year. So we see that all of these 3 conditions have been satisfied. There are 188 customers whose tenure is greater than 50. Their internet service is DSL and their contract is of 1 year. Right, now we'll go ahead and work with OR operator. Now let's just say we would want to find out all those customers whose payment method is either mailed check or electronic check. So let's filter for that. Filter, give the name of the dataset, which is customer churn. So now I'll give the name of the column, which is payment method, and this could be either electronic check or mail check. So right, electronic check. Now I'll give OR logical operator. Again, I'll type payment method as double equal to mail check, right? And I will store this in, let's say, C underscore pay, view of C underscore pay. Let me directly go to the payment method column. So where is it? Right, so here we have. So now we see that the payment method is either mail check or electronic check. And in total, there are 3,977 customers whose payment method is either mail check or electronic check. Right. So now what we'll do is we'll use the AND logical operator and also the OR logical operator in conjunction. So we'll complicate this a bit more again. Right. So now let's just say I would want to select all of those customers whose let's say contract is either 1 year or 2 year, and also the gender is male, right? So we'll use the filter condition for it. I'll give the data set, which is customer churn, right? So now over here I'll use the OR operator. So now our first task is to select all of those customers whose contract is either 1 year or 2 year. So I will type contract as double equal to 1 year. I'll use the OR logical operator. Again, the next condition would be contract is double equal to 2 year. Right. So this is how we have filtered out all of those customers whose contract is either 1 year or 2 year. Now we're not done yet. I'll use the AND operator to make sure that the gender is a female. So I'll type AND gender is equal to female, and this completes our filter command. And I'll save this in C underscore con underscore gen. So let me have a glance at this now. View of C underscore con underscore gen. Right, so I see that the gender is female. Now let me also see the contract. So the contract is either 1 year or 2 year. So let me verify this. So I'll type table C underscore con underscore gen gender. Right, so we have only female customers. Again, similarly, let me check the contract now. Right, so again, the contract is only 1 year or 2 year. Right, so there are no customers who have month-to-month contract in this data set. So now let's go ahead and use some other complicated filter operation. Now I feel like filtering out all of those customers whose internet service is either DSL or fiber optic, and let's say also their tenure is greater than 50 and their monthly charges are greater than 100. So let's go ahead and impose all of these conditions. For that, I'll type filter. I'll give the name of the data set, which is customer. Right. So now let me give my first set of conditions where I'm filtering out those customers where the internet service is either DSL or fiber optic. Right. So I'll type internet service is double equal to DSL. I'll use the OR pipe operator, and again the internet service could be fiber optic. Right, so we are done with the first OR condition over here. So the customer has to use either DSL internet service or fiber optic, and I'll use and now I will give the second set of conditions where I would want the tenure to be greater than 50. So I'll type tenure is greater than 50. Again, I'll use the AND logical operator to select all of those customers whose monthly charges are greater than 100. Right, so I'll type monthly charges is greater than 100. And I'll save this, and let's say C underscore complicated. Let me have a glance at this. View of C underscore complicated. Right, so let's start off by checking the internet service. Right, so internet service is mostly fiber optic, which is true. So it either needs to be DSL or fiber optic. Right, and the next condition was of tenure. So the tenure had to be greater than 50, which is again true. And then the next was monthly charges. So the monthly charges had to be greater than 100, which is also true. Right. So these were some of the examples of the filter function. So with the help of mutate, we can add new columns to our existing data frame. So let's go to RStudio and add some new columns to our customer churn dataset. Right. So we are back to RStudio. Now I'll start off by having a glance at our customer churn dataset. So I'll type view of customer churn. So we have our dataset right in front of us. Now I'll also load the dplyr package. I'll type library of dplyr. We have loaded the dplyr package. Now mutate is a part of the dplyr package. So I'll use this mutate function to add a new column age to this. So you see this already existing column senior citizen, which has values zeros and ones. So if the value is 0, this basically means that the customer is not a senior citizen. And if the value is 1, then this means that the customer is a senior citizen. So depending on these values, I'll generate a new column age. So in that new column, if the customer is not a senior citizen, then I will give his age to be somewhere between 16 to 55. And if he is a senior citizen, then in the age column, I'll generate a value which is somewhere between 56 to 100. So let me go ahead and use the mutate function to do that. Right, so I will type mutate over here. Now the first parameter is the name of the dataset, which will be obviously customer churn. right? Now after this, I will give the name of the new column, which will be age. Now this age I will generate with an if else clause. So I'll type if else, and the condition depends on this column. So I will type over here senior citizen is double equal to 0. Right, so I have given the test condition over here if senior citizen is double equal to 0, or in other words, if the customer is not a senior citizen, then I will generate a random value which is somewhere between 16 to 55. And similarly, if the customer is a senior citizen, then I will generate a value which is between 56 to 100. Right. So I'll explain this once again. So first I've given the name of the dataset, then I've given the name of the new column. And in this, I'm using the if else clause, and here I give the test condition. So if the customer is not a senior citizen, then I'll generate a value in the age column, which will be somewhere between 16 and 55. And if the customer is actually a senior citizen, then I'll generate a value which will be somewhere between 56 and 100. Right. So let me copy this. Let me paste this over here. And I will store this back into the customer churn dataset. Right. So let me have a glance at this dataset now. View of customer churn. So this is our dataset. Let me maximize this and show it to you. So we see that initially we did not have this age column, but after using the mutate function, we have generated this age column. So let me just verify this properly. So we have the senior citizen column over here. So from row number 1 till row number 21, there is no senior citizen. So let me just verify. So all of these ages are less than 55 over here. So 52, 29, 25. So let me go ahead and see where does the first senior citizen come. So over here the age is 72, and let me verify over here again. Right. So this guy is a senior citizen, and that is why we have generated a value which is above 55 for this guy. And then we have age of 85 over here. So let's verify this again. So this guy again is a senior citizen. That's why we have sampled a random number 85 to this guy. Right. Now similarly, we will add another column. So you see the monthly charges over here. So let me actually check the range of monthly charges. So I'll type range of customer churn dollar monthly charges. So we see that the range is somewhere between $18 to $118. Now depending on this range, I will create a new column which will classify the customer into 3 categories. So the first customer will be a low paying customer, the next would be medium paying, and the third would be high paying customer. Right, so let me do that using the mutate function again. So let me delete this. I will type mutate again. I will start off by giving the name of the dataset. Now after giving the name of the dataset, I need to give the name of the column which I need to generate. So I'll name this column as customer category. Alright. Now again, I will generate this with the help of if else clause. So over here, I will give the test condition. So the test condition is dependent on monthly charges. So let's say these would be my conditions over here. So if the customer's monthly charges are less than $45, then I would categorize him into low paying customer. And if his monthly charges are somewhere between $45 to $90, then I'll categorize him as a medium paying customer. And if his monthly charges are more than 90, then I'll categorize him as a high paying customer. Right, so I'll give the first condition, so which will be if monthly charges are less than 45. Right, then over here, if this is true, I just need to give a value which will be low paying. Right, now if the monthly charges are not less than 45, so over here I will give another if else condition. right? And so in this if else clause, I will generate another condition. Now I will check if monthly charges are less than 90, right? So if else of monthly charges is less than 90. So what is basically happening is, if this is true, then he'll be categorized into low paying. If this is not true, or in other words, if this is false, then this will be evaluated. And again in this, I am giving two conditions. So now over here, if his monthly charges are between 45 and 90, I will categorize him as medium paying. And if this is false, then that would basically mean that his monthly charges are more than 90. And that is where I will categorize the customer as high paying, right? So I'll go through this code again. So I started off by creating the mutate condition over here, and I gave the name of the data set. And after that, I named the new column to be customer category, and I used the if else clause. And inside the if else clause, I checked if the customer's monthly charges were less than 45. And if his monthly charges were less than 45, I categorized him as low paying. And if this test condition proved to be false, then I generated another if else condition. So if his monthly charges are between 45 and 90, I will categorize him as median paying. And again, if this is false, then finally that would mean that his monthly charges are more than 90, and I categorized him as high paying. Right, so let me select all of this, and let me put it back to customer churn. And now let me have a glance at this view of customer churn. Right, so we have modified the dataset and we have added this new column, customer category. So you see this over here. So his monthly charges are 29.85, and since it is less than 45, he's a low paying customer. His monthly charges is 56, which is greater than 45 but less than 90, so he's medium paying. So let's check this guy out, high paying. So his monthly charges are obviously greater than 90, which is 104, and that is why he's a high paying customer. Again, so these all customers over here, they have a monthly charges of greater than 100, and that is why all of these are high paying customers. Again, this guy over here, less than 45, that is why he's a low paying customer. So sample n and sample frac basically help us to get a random set of values, and count helps us to get the count of different categories. So let's go to RStudio and work with these. So we have RStudio right in front of us, and this is our customer churn dataset. So I'll start off by loading the dplyr package. So I'll type library of dplyr, and since all of the above mentioned functions are a part of dplyr, we had to load this package. So I'll start off with the sample n function. So I'll type sample n. So now this function is used to randomly sample a dataset. Now let's say the network is organizing a lucky draw and it wants to select randomly 10 customers and give them a discount of 50%. And for that purpose, we can use the sample n function. So what I'll do is I will start off by giving the name of the dataset. So this is the first parameter, and then I will give the size, that is the number of customers that I want to sample or randomly sample. So let's say I want 10 customers, 10 random customers. So I'll give 10, and I'll store this in a new object and name it as random 10. Now let me have a look at the result. So I'll type view of random 10, right? See that these are the 10 random customers which have been selected for lucky draw. Now similarly, let's say if we wanted 100 random customers, all you had to do was type sample n, give the name of the dataset, and then give 100 over here, and I will store this in, let's say, random 100. So I will type random 100 over here. Now let me have a glance at this new object. So I'll type view of random 100. So this is our new data set, which gives us a random set of 100 customers, right? Quite interesting, isn't it? Now similar to sample n, we have another function which is sample frac. So sample frac gives us a fraction of the entire data set. Now let's say I wanted 10% of the entire data set. So for something like that, we can use sample frac. So now if I want 10% of the entire data set, I will give 0.1, and I will store this in random, let's say 10%. Let me have a look at this. View of random 10%. Right. So we get the 10% of the entire data set. So this is the entire data set, which is 7043. Now 10% of 7043 is 704. Right. Now let's again say if I wanted 50% of the entire data set, so I'll give 0.5 and I'll store this in random 50%. Let me have a look at this. I'll type view of random 50%. So 3522. Now let me just divide this 7043 divided by 2. How much do I get? So that's 3521. Again, since we can't get a fractional value of number of rows, so we have got 3522, right? So this is random sampling of the 50% of the dataset from the original dataset. This is how we can work with sample and sample frac. Now we'll use the count function from the dplyr package, and let's learn how to count different categories of this dataset. So let's say I would want to find out the number of males and number of females in this column. So all I need to do is type count, give the name of the data set, and then give the name of the column. So name of the column is gender. Now let us see the result. So we see that in total there are 3488 female customers and 3555 male customers. Now similarly, if I wanted to find out the distribution with respect to internet service, so all I have to do is give count, give the name of the dataset, and then give the name of the column, which is internet service. Right. So we see that there are around 1526 customers who don't use internet at all. There are 3096 customers who use fiber optic, and there are 2421 customers who use DSL. Now similarly, if we wanted to find out the distribution with respect to contract, so again we will type count over here, give the name of the dataset, which is customer churn, and give the name of the column, which is contract. Right. So over here there are 3875 customers whose contract is of type month to month. There are 1473 customers whose contract is of 1 year. There are 1695 customers whose contract is of 2 years. Now similarly, if you wanted to find out how many customers had subscribed for paperless billing and how many did not, so all you have to do is count, give the name of the dataset, and then give the name of the column, which is paperless billing. Right. So there are 4171 customers who have opted for paperless billing, and the rest of them have not opted for paperless billing. Right, so this is how we can work with sample and sample frac, and this brings us to the end of the session. Thanks for attending.
If you want to make a career in data science, then Intellipaat has IIT Madras Advanced Data Science and AI Certification Program. This course is of very high quality and cost effective, as it is taught by IIT professors and industry experts.